This $1 powder can erase rust from your stainless steel appliances permanently. And the companies charging you $500, $1,000, even $10,000 for professional restoration are praying you never find this out. Because the moment you do, their entire business model collapses. They didn't hide this because it fails. They hid it because it works too well. And once you see what I'm about to show you, you're going to look at every rusty stain in your home and realize you were never supposed to spend big money fixing it. Rust, that ugly orange stain creeping across your fridge, your sink, your dishwasher, even your car trim. You were told stainless steel doesn't rust. That's the lie. Stainless steel resists rust, but the moment the protective layer gets damaged, even slightly, oxygen and moisture start attacking it. Instead of telling you how to fix it for basically nothing, industries stepped in and sold you expensive sprays, polishes, replacement parts, and even full appliance upgrades, all when the real solution was sitting in your kitchen the entire time. This channel exists for one reason: to expose the cheap, simple fixes that billion-dollar industries buried. Not because they don't work, but because they work too well. If you want to stop wasting money on industry lies, subscribe and hit the bell. Because every video here is another piece of knowledge they never wanted you to have. Now let's go back, way back. 1912, Cleveland, Ohio. Industrial America is booming. Steel factories are running nonstop. A chemist working in a small materials lab notices something strange. Workers were cleaning metal tools using a simple alkaline powder mixed with carbonated water. Not a fancy chemical, not a patented solution, just a basic compound that reacted with oxidation. The result? Rust disappeared, not temporarily, but completely stripped away, leaving clean metal behind. That chemist documented it, shared it, and for decades it was common knowledge in workshops and households. Your grandmother already knew this. She used it every single day. Not because it was trendy, not because it was marketed, but because it worked. Cheap, simple, effective. But then came branding. Then came packaging. Then came billion-dollar cleaning industries. And suddenly, that $1 powder wasn't good enough anymore. They needed you to believe rust required specialized formulas, expensive treatments, and professional services. So what did they do? They buried the original method, rebranded it, diluted it, sold it back to you at 50 times the price. Here's what they don't want you to understand. Rust is iron oxide. At the molecular level, it's a reaction between iron, oxygen, and water. When stainless steel loses its protective chromium oxide layer, even briefly, rust can form. But baking soda, that $1 powder sitting in your kitchen, is mildly alkaline. When combined with a liquid like club soda or vinegar, it creates a reaction that breaks down that iron oxide. At the molecular level, the alkaline environment destabilizes the rust structure. It loosens its grip on the metal surface. Then the gentle abrasive nature of the powder physically lifts it away without damaging the steel underneath. It's not magic, it's chemistry. Simple chemistry that industries cannot patent. And that's exactly why they buried it. Think about it. If a $1 solution fixes rust permanently, what happens to the companies selling $50 cleaners? What happens to appliance repair services charging hundreds? What happens to full replacements costing thousands? They disappear. So instead, they keep you in the dark. They let rust spread. They let you think the only option is to replace or pay up. Every year you don't know this, you are wasting money. Not $10, not 50, hundreds, thousands over time. Because once rust appears, you panic, you assume damage, you assume cost. And they profit from that fear. But now you know better. If you've made it this far, you already know more than 99% of homeowners. And now I'm going to show you exactly how to use this. First, you need baking soda. Plain, cheap, no-brand baking soda. Costs about $1. Then you choose your liquid. Club soda if you want a gentle reaction. Vinegar if the rust is heavier and more stubborn. Take 2 tablespoons of baking soda. Not a guess. 2 level tablespoons. Put it into a small bowl. Then slowly add your liquid. About 1 tablespoon at a time. You're aiming for a thick paste. Not too runny, not too dry. It should stick to a vertical surface without dripping. Now here's where most people mess up. They rush. They scrub immediately. That's wrong. Apply the paste directly onto the rust. Cover it completely. Let it sit. Minimum 15 minutes. If the rust is deeper, go up to 30. What you're doing here is allowing that chemical reaction to work at the molecular level, breaking down the rust before you even touch it. After that, take a soft cloth or a non-scratch sponge. Do not use steel wool. That's another trap. It scratches the surface and makes future rust worse. Instead, gently scrub in circular motions. You'll start to see the orange discoloration lifting away. Not fading. Lifting. If it's a heavy spot, repeat once more. But most of the time, 1 cycle is enough. Then rinse with clean water. Wipe it dry immediately. And here's the final step they never tell you. Take a dry cloth and buff the surface lightly. This helps restore the protective layer and prevents future oxidation. What you're left with is clean, polished stainless steel. No rust, no stains, no expensive products, no service calls. And the best part? It's not temporary. This isn't a cover-up. This isn't hiding the rust. You removed it. Completely. Permanently. Now think about everything you've been told before this. All the ads, all the special formulas, all the warnings that rust means damage you can't fix yourself. It was never about helping you. It was about controlling what you believe is possible. They didn't hide this because it fails. They hid it because it works too well. And now that you know it, you have a choice. Keep it to yourself or pass it on. Because knowledge like this doesn't just save money. It breaks systems built on keeping you unaware. Every share keeps alive what the industry tried to erase. And there are more secrets like this, ones that can save you thousands. And once you start using this, you're going to notice something else they never talk about. Rust doesn't just come back randomly. It comes back because the surface was either scratched, left wet, or treated with the wrong chemicals that actually weaken that protective layer. That's how they keep you trapped in a cycle. Clean it wrong, it comes back. Buy another product. Clean it again. Repeat forever. But when you understand what's really happening at the molecular level, you break that cycle completely. Most stainless steel appliances are protected by a thin layer of chromium oxide. That layer is invisible, but it's everything. It's what stops oxygen from attacking the metal underneath. The moment you use harsh cleaners, bleach-based sprays, or abrasive pads, you damage that layer. You don't see it immediately. But over time, tiny microscopic gaps form. That's where moisture sneaks in. That's where rust begins. And then you blame the appliance. You think it's old, defective, cheap, so you replace it. That's exactly what they want. But when you use baking soda with club soda or vinegar, something different happens. You're not stripping the metal. You're not tearing it down. You're gently removing oxidation while leaving the base intact. And when you dry and buff it properly, you actually help that protective layer stabilize again. That's why this method works permanently, not just temporarily. Now, let's talk about different situations, because this isn't just for one type of rust. If you're dealing with light surface rust on something like a refrigerator door or a sink edge, you can go even gentler. Use baking soda with club soda. The carbonation helps lift the rust without being aggressive. Let it sit for 10 to 15 minutes, then wipe. In many cases, you won't even need to scrub hard. If the rust is darker, more stubborn, maybe on a dishwasher panel or around handles where moisture sits longer, that's when you bring in vinegar. The acidity helps break down tougher oxidation. Mix it into that same paste. Let it sit longer and then gently work it off. And if you're dealing with something that's been ignored for months, maybe even years, don't panic. This still works. You just repeat the process. 2 cycles, maybe 3 at most. But you're still spending pennies compared to what a professional would charge you. Now here's another detail most people miss. Direction matters. When you scrub stainless steel, always go with the grain. Look closely at your appliance. You'll see faint lines. That's the grain. If you scrub against it, you create micro scratches. Those scratches become future rust points. Go with the grain, and you protect the surface while cleaning it. This is the kind of detail that never shows up on product labels, because if you knew it, you wouldn't need the product. And let's talk about cars for a second, because this doesn't stop in your kitchen. Stainless trims, exhaust tips, even certain panels can develop rust spots. Same method, same ingredients, same result. You're removing oxidation without damaging the finish. Imagine how much money gets spent every year on rust removal services for vehicles. Hundreds per visit, thousands over time. And yet, the solution is sitting in your pantry for $1. This is why the auto care industry, the appliance industry, and the cleaning product industry all quietly benefit from you not knowing this. They can't patent baking soda. They can't own vinegar. They can't control club soda. So instead, they flood the market with alternatives, branded, overpriced, and often less effective. And while you're standing in a store comparing labels, trying to figure out which one might work, the real solution is being ignored. Not because it's unknown, but because it was buried. Your grandmother already knew this. She didn't need a label to tell her what worked. She didn't need a commercial. She used simple chemistry every day, and it worked. Now here's one more layer they never explain. Prevention. Once you've removed the rust, keeping it away is simple. Always dry your stainless steel after cleaning. Water left sitting is the #1 cause of oxidation. Use a soft cloth. 10 seconds. That's it. Second, avoid chlorine-based cleaners completely. They are one of the fastest ways to destroy that protective layer. Even if they claim to shine or sanitize, they are silently setting you up for future rust. Third, occasional maintenance. Once every couple of weeks, wipe your stainless steel with a damp cloth and a tiny bit of baking soda. Not to remove rust, but to maintain the surface. Think of it as reinforcing the shield before anything can break through. These are simple habits, but they save you from ever dealing with this again. And once you see how easy this is, you start questioning everything else. What other problems have simple solutions that were buried? What other expensive fixes are actually just cheap ingredients repackaged? That's the shift. That's the moment you stop being a customer and start being someone who understands. Because the truth is, industries don't make the most money when things are easy. They make the most money when things feel complicated, when you feel unsure, when you feel like you need them, but you don't. You just proved that to yourself. $1, a few minutes, and a problem they convinced you was permanent, gone permanently. So now it comes down to this. What do you do with this information? You can ignore it, go back to doing things the expensive way. Or you can use it, save money, take control, and maybe even show someone else, because every time you share something like this, you're doing more than helping one person clean rust. You're breaking a chain, a cycle that's been running for decades. They didn't hide this because it fails. They hid it because it works too well. And the more people who know it, the harder it becomes to keep these things buried. So pass it on, not for views, not for clicks, but because knowledge like this was almost erased, and it only survives if people keep it alive. Every share keeps alive what the industry tried to erase. And there's more coming. More simple fixes, more buried truths, more things that should have been common knowledge but weren't allowed to be.